Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, where we dive into the past and explore the incredible lives of people who lived centuries ago. Today, we're going to embark on a truly extraordinary journey, stepping into the shoes of one of the most fierce and legendary warriors in history, the Viking. Get ready to travel back in time to the Viking Age, and discover what life was really like for a Viking warrior. Now, when we think of Vikings, images of longships, fierce battles, and epic raids probably come to mind, but what did a typical day for a Viking warrior actually look like? What did they do when they weren't raiding or fighting? How did they prepare for battle? What was their society like, and how did it shape them as individuals? If you've ever wondered about these questions, then this video is for you. We'll dive into the everyday life of a Viking warrior, exploring their daily routines, the tools of their trade, the culture and customs they lived by, and the vital role they played in Viking society. So grab your shield, sharpen your axe, and let's set sail back to the 9th century to experience the world through the eyes of a Viking warrior. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started on our epic journey into Viking history. Morning. The dawn of a Viking warrior's day. The sun rises over the Scandinavian wilderness, casting a cold, gray light over the lands of the Viking warriors. The air is thick with the smell of the sea, salt and brine carried by the winds that whip through the rugged terrain. The dawn breaks early, especially in the northern reaches of the Viking world, where daylight can last for only a few hours in the winter or stretch out for almost 24 hours in the summer. For a Viking warrior, every day begins early. A Viking warrior wakes up in the longhouse, a communal structure where families and warriors alike gather to rest, eat, and prepare for the day ahead. These longhouses were simple but effective, built with timber and thatched roofs to protect against the elements. Inside, the warmth of the fire flickers in the center, where food is prepared and shared. The day starts with a stretching ritual, as the body of a Viking warrior needs to be ready for the physically demanding life they lead. Their muscles ache from the day before, whether from battle, training, or labor. Their feet are calloused from walking barefoot on the rugged terrain, and their hands are rough from gripping weapons and tools. Before doing anything else, a Viking warrior cleans up. Hygiene in the Viking world was quite important. Vikings were known for bathing regularly and combing their hair. The warrior would wash his face in a basin of cold water, sometimes using herbs or oils to keep the skin healthy. Their hair would be styled in intricate braids, adorned with beads or bone combs, as appearance mattered, especially in a society that valued status and personal honor. Breakfast. Preparing for the day ahead. After the morning routine, it's time for breakfast. Food is essential in the life of a Viking warrior, not just for survival, but also for the energy required for their active and sometimes brutal lifestyle. Breakfast would often consist of hearty, protein-rich meals like porridge made from barley or oats, along with bread, butter, and dried meat or fish. Meats like beef, pork, and lamb were also common staples in a Viking diet, though these were usually reserved for special occasions or feasts. The Vikings were skilled hunters and fishermen, and their diet was supplemented by what they could catch or forage. A Viking warrior might have fresh fish or smoked salmon with their breakfast, alongside fruits like berries and apples, which grew abundantly in the forests. Vikings also cultivated a variety of crops, including rye and wheat, and they kept livestock for milk, eggs, and meat. The Viking diet was hearty and practical, providing the necessary calories and protein for a day of combat, training, or work. Once they had their fill, the warrior would prepare himself for the rest of the day. Midday. Training, raiding, and work. A Viking warrior's day was never idle. Whether they were preparing for a raid, working in the community, or training for battle, there was always something to do. Viking warriors were renowned for their physical prowess, and much of their time was spent honing their combat skills. Viking warriors practiced with a variety of weapons, including the iconic Viking axe, sword, spear, and shield. Each of these weapons required different skills and techniques, and a Viking warrior would train daily to maintain proficiency in their use. Whether it was sparring with fellow warriors or practicing their throws with a javelin, training was intense and relentless. They would focus on building endurance, strength, and agility, all of which were essential in battle. The Vikings were also skilled sailors, and many warriors spent time on the water, practicing with longships or taking part in raids. Their longships were masterpieces of naval engineering, able to sail quickly across open seas and navigate shallow rivers with ease. A Viking warrior was not just a foot soldier, he was also a sailor, and the two skills went hand in hand. If a Viking warrior wasn't training or preparing for a raid, they might spend time working on the land. Agriculture and animal husbandry were important parts of Viking life, and every Viking had a role to play in maintaining the economy of their community. Even a warrior who might spend most of his time in battle still had to lend a hand in the everyday chores of Viking life. Whether it was plowing fields, harvesting crops, or building structures like longhouses or boats. Afternoon. The call to arms. The Viking warrior's afternoon would often be spent in preparation for war. This could mean sharpening weapons, repairing armor, or gathering provisions for a potential raid. A warrior's gear was an extension of themselves, and they took great care in ensuring that their weapons were in top condition. The sword, a symbol of power and status, would be polished and sharpened, while shields would be checked for cracks or damage from previous skirmishes. Some warriors also spent their afternoons participating in or organizing meetings to plan raids or discuss the affairs of their clan or village. The Viking society was based on a strong sense of kinship, and loyalty to one's clan or family was of paramount importance. Leaders, often known as chieftains or jarls, would hold council meetings with their warriors to discuss upcoming raids or other matters of importance. These gatherings were often intense, with heated debates and strategic discussions. But Viking society wasn't just about war. It was also about trade, culture, and exploration. Vikings were traders as much as they were raiders, and many warriors spent time traveling across Europe and beyond, establishing trade routes and exchanging goods. A warrior might barter for goods like silver, furs, weapons, or precious stones. Evening. A warrior's rest and the feasts as the sun sets, signaling the end of another hard day. The Viking warrior returns to his longhouse. The communal fire has already been stoked, and the atmosphere is filled with the warmth of camaraderie and the scent of roasting meat. The Viking warriors would gather around the fire to share a meal, drink, and recount stories of their day or past battles. Feasts were a central part of Viking culture. After a successful raid or harvest, a great feast would often be held to celebrate. Mead, a fermented drink made from honey, was commonly consumed during these feasts, and it was believed to give the drinker strength and courage. Stories of gods, heroes, and legendary warriors would be told around the fire, with warriors sometimes joining in with their own tales of bravery and conquest. For a Viking warrior, these feasts were not just about food and drink. They were about preserving the oral traditions of their people and solidifying their bond with others in the tribe. Through these gatherings, the warrior would pass down the tales of their ancestors and cement their legacy for future generations. Night. The Viking warrior's dreams and reflection. As the night falls over the land, the Viking warrior rests, but the work never truly stops. Sleep is essential for recovery, but even in their sleep, Viking warriors often found themselves haunted by visions of battle. The gods, especially Odin, the Allfather, were always present in the Vikings' mind. They believed that the gods watched over them and that their actions would determine their fate in the afterlife. Some warriors would lie awake, reflecting on the day's events, whether it was a successful training session, a raid, or simply the routine tasks of daily life. For many, these moments of quiet reflection were a chance to prepare mentally for the challenges ahead. In Viking society, a warrior's success in battle was not just a personal achievement, it was a reflection of their connection with the gods and their honor in life. The day ends with sleep, but tomorrow will bring new challenges. The life of a Viking warrior is one of constant motion, of preparation, and of living with the knowledge that every day could bring a new battle. Whether defending their land, raiding new territories, or working to maintain their community, the Viking warrior's life is marked by a relentless pursuit of honor, strength, and legacy. Conclusion. That's a day in the life of a Viking warrior. From the early morning routines to the evening feasts, the life of a Viking warrior was filled with purpose and hard work. Every day was a mix of battle, training, and community involvement, with every action shaped by their fierce warrior spirit and the culture that demanded strength, courage, and honor. The Viking world was not just one of constant raiding and conquest. It was a complex society built on familial bonds, trade, and the ever-present influence of the gods. The Viking warrior was not just a soldier, he was a symbol of Viking strength, resilience, and the unbreakable bond with his people. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey into the past. I hope this gives you a deeper understanding of the life of a Viking warrior and what it meant to live during such a tumultuous and fascinating time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more historical deep dives. Until next time, stay strong and honor the past. Skål!